Welcome to the Minecraft Iceberg, Tier 1, Herobrine. Herobrine was extremely popular for anyone growing up with Minecraft. Herobrine was a sort of urban legend in the game, being a version of Steve with white eyes who would do a lot of weird things around your world, like removing leaves from trees, creating random tunnels, building weird structures, just a lot of weird things around your world, and it got so massively popular that in every changelog since his spike in popularity, it said removed Herobrine at the bottom of the page. The first ever official appearance of Herobrine was August 12th, 2011, when announcing the Minecraft Wedding Weekend. In the background here, you can see Herobrine. The story of him goes back quite a bit further. In July of 2010, this screenshot of white eyes in the dark is actually what inspired the full creation of Herobrine a month later. This was the first full appearance of him, in a 4chan post where the maker of the post said that he was playing in a single-player world, and everything was fine until weird stuff started happening around his world, and that he was being stalked by a quote pseudo-player, as shown in this screenshot. In the post it also says that this is apparently Notch's dead brother, which, if he had a brother, that'd be messed up, but he said he doesn't. The popularity of this post sparked a stage live stream that happened on the channel Brocraft, where this image of Herobrine can be seen and then the stream stopped. It's clearly just a custom painting, but this stream and other fake appearances of Herobrine got famous. Herobrine's become one of, if not the most famous urban legend in gaming. Mob/biome vote. The mob and biome vote are controversial to say the least. These votes were held for every new major update to decide what biome or mobs people wanted to be in the game. You'd be able to choose between 3 options, and while this was nice for the people whose choices won, that meant that the other 2 things in the votes were just gone. It just sucked because a lot of the mobs that won for sure weren't as good as others. I want my Moo Bloom back. Like personally, I wanted the armadillo in the last vote they did, but the crabs and penguins would have been amazing. So while I won the vote and I was mildly happy about that, why get rid of the other 2? With all the backlash of this, they got rid of the mob and biome votes entirely, and I doubt they'll ever return. Minecon. Minecon was a convention for everything Minecraft. It ran from 2011 through 2016, and then it got swapped to being online. But before this change, it was an in-person event where Minecraft fans got together and got to play games, watch presentations by the developers, and create some pretty popular memes.
What's the recommended amount of dedicated RAM I should have to the server?
If you went to any of these in-person Minecons, you'd also get a cape, and these are very rare. Well, capes in general were super rare back then, since that was the only way to get them, going to Minecon, but these are super sought after and are really rare. Minecraft Alive is what Minecon turned into. Instead of it being in person, it's now a live stream and still runs to this day. This is where they hosted the mob and biome votes, but since those were removed, it's mainly just for news now. Creeper origin. When making the pig model, Notch accidentally messed up the dimensions of the pig and turned it into something that most likely looked like this, a really messed up pig. In early versions of the game, the texture was messed up with this creepy model, and Notch decided to turn it into something. This is what later became the iconic creeper. It's become a sort of joke in the community that this is one of the more known trivia of Minecraft. I remember hearing about this for the first time and being so weirded out thinking that this creepy exploding creature was once a pig. End poem. Once you beat the Ender Dragon and jump into the portal in the end, you're met with the credits of the game, being a poem. And it's a very unique experience. I recommend whenever you beat the Ender Dragon again to actually read it. It's really sweet and I guess sort of philosophical. There's a really good, I guess you could call it, performance that I'll have in the description. It's just completely out of nowhere for this game and really well written. Snapshots and previews. Minecraft has one of the most open development processes in gaming. Since the alpha of the game, there have been preview versions where people can play the newest versions early. Of course not being fully done, but you can see new things as they're added and changed, and this has evolved into including snapshots as well. Most big updates that are being worked on are near done months before release, and you can sort of play and test them out for Mojang in these versions, though you do need to be on the PC version of the game to do this. One of the newest things they've added to the snapshots, at least at the time of writing, is new clouds for Minecraft. The pattern in them is different, you can see them further away, and there's a little Easter egg with them where you can see a creeper face looking up in the sky. It's just really cool to see things like this early on and see them get changed over time. Death messages. Death messages on most games don't go into too much depth, mainly just being that X player died. But in Minecraft, there's tons of variations of death messages. I doubt you'd see a message like Tomikins was poked to death by a berry bush while trying to escape a zombie piglin in any other game. Plus, some death messages will include the name of a weapon if you named it in an anvil, which can increase a death message by 50 characters if you wanted. It's just insane how many variations are possible and how long these death messages can be. Cobblestone Generator. In one of, if not the most popular game mode on Minecraft servers, Skyblock, there was a new machine popularized. A machine used for making one of the most common blocks, cobblestone. Skyblock is a mode where you start in the sky on a small island with a tree and a few items in a chest, and these items usually end up being a water and lava bucket. With these placed in the ground just right, you can make a machine that creates blocks of cobblestone in the same spot over and over again. It's sort of become a meme that people mess this up a lot of the time and just completely destroy their chances of doing anything on Skyblock. I do the same. Tier 2. Christmas Chest. Every year around Christmas time, the chest in Minecraft will turn festive. The double chest looking like a wide green Christmas present, and single chest looking like a smaller red one. This is just a nice change, and later in the video we'll talk about more changes in the game that happen around the holidays. Data packs, behavior packs, and resource packs. These are all quite a bit different, but throwing them together makes them make more sense. Resource packs, or texture packs, the name's interchangeable, change the textures of different blocks, items, mobs. Pretty much every texture that can be changed in the game will be changed. There's tons of these across all versions of the game, but some were officially supported on the legacy versions, and are the most iconic. Some popular ones were the City Pack, Plastic Pack, and Halloween Pack. I mean, there was just tons of these. Behavior packs and data packs work quite a bit differently. Data packs are more or less the Java version of what behavior packs are on Bedrock, aside from code differences. Both of these packs, while acting similarly to mods, aren't. They can change a lot of different aspects of the game, like changing whether or not, say, if a chicken follows you or not if you're holding a seed, or adding brand new creatures that have their own way of acting and drop new items. They're pretty much just mods that work a lot easier in the game and don't need to change the base code of Minecraft, while normal mods completely rely on changing the code. And if you don't know, the whole reason Bedrock and Java Edition are separated is because they run on completely different code. Java runs on, you guessed it, Java, and Bedrock runs on C++, so most things don't work with each other across them. Pre-1.0. The 1.0 update, or Adventure Update Part 2, was the real full launch of Minecraft, adding things like breeding animals, hardcore mode, nether fortresses, and even the end. So this was a massive update. Before this update, Minecraft didn't have an end. It was just do whatever you want. Craft, build things, it was purely a sandbox. And then this update came along and gave an ending to the game. And while sure it's literally called the end, the game doesn't end by any means when you beat the dragon. You just get a new dimension full of new content. Name tag Easter eggs. Name tags let you name any creature you come across. Anything from zombies to pigs can be named, and they won't despawn. While making these name tags, some of the developers decided to throw in some Easter eggs in there for if you named a creature a certain name, and some of these are just references to other media. Like if you name a Vindicator Johnny, it'll attack everything, and normally these are hostile to you, but they won't attack anything else. If it's named Johnny, they'll go after every single creature nearby, like cows, pigs, anything aside from other pillagers and ghasts. If you name a creature Dinnerbone, it'll go upside down, being a reference to a Minecraft developer named Dinnerbone, whose profile picture has always been upside down. If you name a sheep Jeb_, it'll make the sheep's wool constantly change color. And lastly, if you name a rabbit Toast, it'll give it a unique rabbit skin. And this one's got a bit of a sad backstory. Twitter user XYZenTV asked a now former developer, Ryan Holtz, if the devs can make an in-game rabbit skin resembling his girlfriend's lost rabbit Toast. Ryan Holtz accepted the suggestion, and now if players name a rabbit Toast, it'll change to a unique skin. Farlands. The Farlands are a very unique oddity. There's not really been anything else like it. In earlier versions of Minecraft, once you started getting around 12.5 million blocks away from spawn, generation would start to get weird, and the whole game would get laggy. This far out, the game wouldn't really know how to generate anything. It started misusing the noise generator for the terrain generation. What was supposed to be random terrain would be bugged out and be a massive wall of glitchy terrain around the borders of the map. Getting here in survival is a feat not many people were able to do back when it was first discovered. It got to be such a big part of the Minecraft community that it even made its way into Minecraft Story Mode, the Telltale game. The Farlands are just super interesting and one of my favorite parts of Minecraft overall. There was even a version of the Farlands that not many people know exist. In the Infidev versions of the game, very early version of Minecraft, there was a different type of Farlands. It looked really weird and it was fully made out of stone, and it's just nothing like what the iconic Farlands is. Mushroom Island. This is my favorite biome in all of Minecraft. The Mushroom Island is a very rare generation. This is a random entire map of a Minecraft world, and only 12 times does this biome appear. Here, I'll make it bigger for you. Yeah, it's extremely rare, and it kind of sucks with how unique it is, but also makes it all the more special. The Mushroom Island biome is filled with mycelium, a sort of dirt that's been fused with mushrooms, and it spreads to nearby dirt blocks. And it makes sense. In real life, mycelium's like the root structure of mushrooms, and it's everywhere. You may think, oh, it's just from mushrooms. How much could there really be? Well, most of the world is covered in it, and oddly enough, the Last of Us show did a very accurate job at showing this in the intro. But anyways, away from the mycelium talk, this whole biome is mushrooms. Instead of having trees, there's two massive mushroom types that replace them, and the only creatures in this biome are mushrooms, cows that have been sort of taken over by mushrooms. And you can even milk these cows with a bowl, and you'll get mushroom stew. This is for sure one of the most unique and rare biomes in the game. Wither painting. After the wither was added, Mojang put this wither painting in the game. Aside from it looking nice, it's kind of cool to have a hint in a way to spawning the wither. I doubt anyone who's played Minecraft spawned the wither from looking at this painting, but it's a fun thought. Mobs on chiseled blocks. Every chiseled block that's been added into Minecraft has a mob on it, a creature. These chiseled blocks have creeper, wither, skeleton, and pig snouts on their sides. Enchantment table language. When using the enchanting table, you'll see these weird symbols on the enchantments you can do, and if you hover over them, it'll say the name of the enchantment. Well, it turns out these symbols are a language that translates perfectly to their enchantment names. It's just super cool whenever a piece of media makes a language like this, especially when the symbols look as weird as this. Spin-offs. Minecraft has had multiple spin-off games, and none of them are at all alike. The first of these spin-off games is my personal favorite, Minecraft Story Mode. It was a Telltale game, and if you don't know, Telltale games are pretty much purely story. Sure, there's some gameplay, but a lot of it is mainly watching a show in a way and making decisions. And the story of this game was amazing. Now, unfortunately, it is delisted. You can't buy it anymore unless you have a physical, but it sucks. I mean, sure, I have the Xbox version of it, but I want more people to be able to experience the story. There's playthroughs online, but it's just not the same as playing the game. If you can find a physical version of the game on whatever console you own, or can find it sailing the seven seas, I highly recommend. It is an amazing game, and it's probably my favorite Telltale game overall, which means a lot considering Telltale's Walking Dead exists. In my opinion, it's by far the best of the spin-offs. Not that the others are bad, mind you. I really liked Minecraft Dungeons, which is a top-down dungeon exploring and fighting game. That was really fun. And they not really had a successor, but it kind of felt similar with what they did with Minecraft Legends, a sort of strategy game in a way. You'd be riding around, commanding armies, building things. It was decent. It wasn't the best, but, you know, it existed. And lastly, the weirdest of these was Minecraft Earth. It was an AR game, augmented reality, where it'd use your camera on your phone and display stuff. It was pretty cool, but it didn't last very long. It came out in 2019 and got shut down in 2021. Amplified. In version 1.7.2, the Amplified generation was added for when you were making your Minecraft world. It made everything a lot bigger, like mountains were insanely high, and the generation overall was very odd and didn't really make sense. And that's why people love it. Playing a world on this mode just feels amazing. Getting to explore all this weird terrain is really cool and makes for some really good builds. Programmer art. Programmer art is a built-in resource pack that brings the old Minecraft textures back to the game that were changed over the years. It only affects the textures of the blocks, so mining them will still drop raw iron like it does now, but it's nice when you just want to see what has changed over the years or you want to feel some nostalgia. Tutorial worlds. On legacy versions of Minecraft, the legacy versions being Xbox 360, One, PS3, PS4, Vita, Wii U, and the original Switch version, there were tutorial worlds, only on these versions. And these are obviously super nostalgic for a lot of people, but they were also very well made. They showed off any new features that were added in a recent update, whether it be how redstone works or getting to fly in elytra through a course of rings. It just went over all the new features really well, and it was really fun to mess around in. Now there's no tutorial worlds at all, since the devs probably know you're just gonna look up a YouTube video on how the new features work, but it'd be nice if there was a newer form of these tutorial worlds. You'd also be able to play these in the demo of the game, and it was a good introduction to what Minecraft was, and it got a lot of people to buy the game. Just sucks that the tutorial worlds are completely gone now. Curing Zombie Villager. A zombie villager is created when a villager gets hit by a zombie, or they can sometimes spawn in the wild. You can cure these zombified villagers by throwing a potion of weakness onto them and giving them a golden apple. Once cured, they'll give you a discount on trades. And a lot of people go crazy with villager trading and have all of their villagers get hit with zombies so they can cure them. Kind of a messed up thought, just harming them to save them for better deals, but it does work. Original Minecraft name. Minecraft has had multiple different names over the years. The most recent of them is Cave Game. When this version of the game came out, the whole world was just grass and cobblestone, no trees or anything else yet. And there were versions of the game even before this, but I'll go more into depth on those in future entries. Mob lightning effects. When lightning hits mobs directly, for most of them it'll just deal damage. But there are a few that have different effects. Like a pig being struck by lightning turns into a zombified piglin, a creeper becomes charged and will explode much larger when it explodes, a villager will get turned into a witch, a red mushroom changes into a brown mushroom, and a lightning strike on a turtle instantly kills it, and drops a single bowl instead of the normal drops. These are the only mobs that have a different effect other than just taking damage, but it's a super unique feature and it's something I haven't seen done in any other game. Creepy discs. Most discs in Minecraft are cheerful and nice, but 3 of them, specifically disc 11, 13, and 5, are very creepy. I'll play a little bit of each of them for you, but yeah, they're definitely not at all like the other discs. Igloo basement. In about half of all igloo structures that spawn in Minecraft, there's a hidden basement underneath them. If you get rid of some carpet in the main area of the igloo, there's a secret ladder that leads down to a basement with a sort of lab that teaches you how to cure a zombified villager. This really feels like when they added the jungle temple into the game. It's just not expected at all when you stumble across it the first time. And it's really cool seeing that you're not alone in the world. This may sound dumb, but most worlds are pretty open with not many structures, which is nice. It is nice just seeing the natural terrain, but finding an igloo with a secret lab in a basement is really cool, and it feels like a type of world building that's extremely rare in Minecraft. World border. In update 1.8, the world border was added, being 30 million blocks away from spawn. It's just a massive wall of blue that blocks you from going any further to stop you from breaking the world like coming across the far lands, and honestly, I don't like it at all. I get Minecraft's supposed to be more polished now since it was bought by Microsoft, but I much prefer a laggy and super unique Farlands to a weird obtrusive blue wall. Loading tips. On the Bedrock version of Minecraft, you get different tips when loading into the game. Most of these are common knowledge nowadays, but a lot of them are hints for newer players that didn't know some of the more niche features in the game. Pink sheep. Sheep have different spawn rates depending on the color of wool they have, but by far the most rare of them, and one of the most rare things just in the game, is a pink sheep. They spawn naturally at a 0.1558% chance for an adult and 0.0082% chance for a baby version. These are just exceedingly rare, and you'll most likely never see one in an average world. Bedrock's marketplace. Since it's way harder to mod console games, and modding is such a big part of Minecraft in general, Microsoft decided to add a paid modding service for Bedrock versions of the game, making it so you can upload your own mods, data packs, resource packs, skins, and make money off of them. The whole service is kind of iffy. They had good intentions, but there's a lot of issues with people stealing mods from other creators and publishing them, and making mods off things they don't have the rights for. The intentions are good, but there's a lot of issues behind the scenes. Aside from that though, this service is really nice for people who can't play on PC. Without this, there just wouldn't be any form of mods on console versions of the game. Capes. Capes, like previously mentioned with the Minecon entry, used to be super rare. Nowadays, there's a lot of different ways you can get a cape in Minecraft, and some players think it's lame because they're not as special. Me personally, I like having a cape. I don't know, might just be me, but I think they look cool, and I didn't necessarily have the money to travel across America when I was 6 to get a cape from a Minecraft convention. But that's, you know, something you can't convince your parents of. Trust me, I tried going to one of these. My parents wouldn't let me. But this trend of new capes, not as popular capes, but, you know, them being available, started with the Migrator cape. Oh, and capes affect the looks of elytras as well. You can get this cape by migrating your Mojang Minecraft account to Microsoft, and it's not really like you had an option. I mean, you need to if you want to play the game on Java at all now. And as I'm writing this, I went to open the game to re-sign in. At the bottom, there's still a pop-up for migrating your account. I also have a feeling my Minecraft isn't working too well. But if you migrated your account early, you got this really cool cape. And since then, there's been a good number of capes for free. By watching TikToks, Twitch, just playing near the anniversary, doing challenges for the Minecraft movie's release, there's just been tons of capes. Old Village. Villages used to look quite a bit different than they do now, with the changes in building styles over the years and no longer having to use black wool and torches as a lamp. Old villages look extremely different from the modern ones. In general, the buildings are kind of the same. They've just been updated with new features like bells and whatnot over the years. Debug screen. When you hit the F3 key on Java Minecraft, the PC version, you see an overlay of lots of things that honestly don't matter, at least for the average player. Off to the left here, you see your coordinates, and that's really all people use this screen for. You can also see what day the world or server you're in is on, and some other things, but it's mainly just for the coordinates. And Bedrock kind of has a version of this. They don't have the whole debug screen, but they do now have a toggle feature to show coordinates in the corner of the screen. It's super helpful, and without this, it'd just be kind of relying on your memory to find anything. Note block sounds. Depending on what block you place a note block on, it'll change the sound it produces when interacted with. People have been able to use this to make entire songs in the game, and since every block has a different tone, you can make pretty much any song you want. Lena Rain. Like how C418 was the main music person for old Minecraft, Lena Rain is the new one. Most new Minecraft tracks you hear and are impressed by are from her. Just amazing songs, and she's worked on a lot of different game soundtracks. They really made a good choice having this person on for the music. Realms. Realms was made mainly for Java players who couldn't host a server, offering a paid server instead. Since multiplayer is just a thing on Bedrock, it's not widely as used there. But now on Java with the Essentials mod, which if you don't have it, I highly recommend it. Kind of just makes the game playable, honestly. It has a friends list and you can just play multiplayer on single player worlds. But Realms has this weird storage limit that can be filled super quick. It's good if you don't have an alternative, just I'd recommend doing something off your own system or going third party with server support. Tier 3. Giant. The Giant is an unused mob left over in the files of Minecraft, and you'd think the model may still be in the game and not actually work, but no, you can just spawn it in the game with a simple command. It doesn't interact with you or anything, but it'll spawn with 50 hearts of health, won't burn in the sunlight, and he sorta just stands there. A massive zombie. April Fool's snapshots. Over the years, Mojang has had multiple April Fool's updates, ranging from a fake store that can be accessed from a randomly spawned chest in the game, to an entire dimension generator done through writing text in a book and throwing it into another portal. Most recently, they had a almost roguelike game mode of Minecraft through this, and it was super unique and probably one of my favorite April Fool's updates for the game. Illusioner. The Illusioner is pretty similar to the Giant. It's a cut enemy, but instead of not doing anything, this one fully functions. It just can't spawn naturally. The Illusioner will hit you and apply tons of effects on hit, and it'll create duplicates or illusions of itself mid-fight. You have to attack between these illusions, not directly, to deal any damage, but this mob's been in the game since 2017, works pretty much perfectly, and it just won't spawn. I have no clue why Mojang or Microsoft hasn't decided to do anything with this. Enchanted golden apple recipe. In modern Minecraft, you can craft gold apples with an apple in the middle, being surrounded by gold bars, and enchanted versions of these exist but can only be found generated in chests. But a while back in Minecraft's history, you could actually craft the enchanted golden apples. Instead of gold bars, it'd be gold blocks. They removed this from the game, likely for being too broken. They were also referred to as notch apples, ruby dung. This is ruby dung, the earliest known version of Minecraft. This version of the game was going to be an isometric strategy game, with a lot different of a style to Minecraft. This got changed into Cave Game and later on into Minecraft pretty fast, but Minecraft's original vision was of an entirely different type of game. Education Edition. Minecraft Education Edition is a version of Minecraft that was made just for schooling. The entire game is different. It has the core mechanics of Minecraft, but also has things relating to chemistry, coding, different types of creatures, and when it was first announced, I honestly thought it was a joke. Like, no one would actually use this in a school. Well, when I got to my senior year of high school, I actually used this in my coding class. And while it didn't help with coding at all, it was pretty fun to play these sort of documentary-style worlds they had us play. The trailer I'm playing in the background of this is of an official BBC Earth world that plays by showing you different creatures and locations in a kind of documentary style. Also, this was just an excuse to play Minecraft in school. I was not complaining. Those were good days when I had to play Minecraft Education Edition. Mince Raft. Notice anything weird with this screenshot? Because I didn't for a good 20 seconds. Where it normally says Minecraft, there is a 0.01% chance that this Easter egg will occur. Instead of saying Minecraft, it'll say Mince Raft instead. Just a weird little Easter egg. You're extremely lucky if you come across this on your own, and even luckier if you notice it. It's very easy to just go straight to single player or multiplayer and not notice this was on your screen. Full block chests. In the beta of Minecraft, chests were full blocks, and they also didn't really align correctly. With the chest being full blocks, it allowed you to open them even if a block was placed right on top of it, something you can't do now with them being fully animated and actually programmed right. Spectrogram Easter eggs. Discs 11 and 13 both have Easter eggs in their spectrograms, spectrograms being a visual representation of audio. In these discs, you can find a face of Steve and a signature by C418, the disc's creator. And in a spectrogram of a cave sound, you can blatantly just see a creeper's face. These are just super unique Easter eggs, and I'm sure no one was expecting this when looking at these spectrograms of Minecraft music. Lego Minecraft. In June of 2012, Lego and Mojang started working together on making Minecraft Lego sets. The style of these sets from then to now have changed quite a bit, and I'd say they've for sure gotten better. Actually, as I'm writing the script, they announced a new set that looks way different from anything else I've seen. Well, I guess as this goes out, it's been out for a week now, but yeah, these Lego sets are really cool and most of them are pretty different in style. Brick Pyramid. In InfDev, one of the earliest versions of Minecraft, there was a structure called the Brick Pyramid that could spawn. Since bricks were just added, Notch wanted a way for players to get them. But clay wasn't an item yet, so this was the only way of getting the block. Unfortunately, there's no rooms or anything inside the pyramid, but they looked really nice and stood out a lot from the lime grass everywhere. Rose. This is the rose, my old favorite flower in Minecraft, but they killed it, changed it into a tall 2-block rose bush instead, and added the poppy in its place. Yeah, they just changed the rose into a poppy and added a new type of rose into the game. Green axolotl. The axolotls come in many different colors. There's pink, white, yellow, brown, and even a rare blue variant. But when they were first shown off, there was also a green variant, but for some reason this was scrapped before release of the update, and now we only have 5 versions of this creature. Still enough. I mean, most creatures in this game until recently didn't have any variations, but it still sucks seeing that we missed out on something like this. Console Edition mini-games. On legacy versions of Minecraft, there were mini-games. These games were Battle, Tumble, and Glide. Battle was what you'd expect, kind of like a Hunger Games mode. Tumble was what Spleef was on PC, where you'd have to try and get rid of the ground beneath another player and knock them out. And lastly, Glide was a custom course mode using the elytra that had boosts, things that made you gain or lose elevation, and it was really just a sort of obstacle course with elytras. All of these modes are super nostalgic for a lot of players and were really fun. They've been brought to Java through mods, which was really nice, but somehow the original servers of the legacy minigames are still somewhat supported, so you can just go and play them now if you want. Zombie villages. The zombie villages, or abandoned villages, are pretty self-explanatory. Added in 1.14, these villages can spawn and they're like normal ones, but there's cobwebs everywhere and no villagers can be found. No healthy ones at least. Yeah, just zombie villagers. Aside from having good access to zombie villagers, structures like this are super nice because there's not really any other world building in this game. They've got the jungle and desert temple, but seeing something like this is really refreshing and unique. Notch drops apples. If your username is Notch in Minecraft, so this only applies to Notch directly, well, you'll drop apples when killed. It's the only username in the game to drop anything extra when killed. There's some other unique usernames out there, like Dinnerbones model being upside down, but none have unique drops like Notch does. Bedrock ray tracing. In 2020, ray tracing was added to the Bedrock version of Minecraft, being available on computers that can run it, which it's very hard to run, and the newest series of Xbox consoles. It looks really good, but it's a bit frustrating when trying to set up on your own world. It's more of a showcase of the possibility of it, rather than being fully supported. At least that was my experience with it on the PC version. Leather dyeing. In all versions of Minecraft, you can dye leather armor. And it's really cool, you can make a lot of unique armor sets with this. But only in Bedrock can you dye water in a cauldron, then throw armor in to dye it. It doesn't matter that much, but it's really cool being able to dye cauldrons, and I have no idea why this isn't in the Java versions of the game. But at least Bedrock version gets something exclusive. They're normally kind of screwed over in cool features. Enderman speech. Enderman speech, just like the enchanting table text, has been translated, and that's cool and all, but it turns out you sorta don't need that. If you listen very closely to an Enderman, they're just speaking distorted English. Yeah, this entire time, you could just understand what they were saying, but I doubt anyone listened hard enough. I certainly know I didn't. Intentional game design. As a sort of joke from the developers, when you try and sleep in the nether or end dimension, the bed will explode, and if you're killed by it, it'll say killed by intentional game design. So this became a popular way of mining for netherite in the nether, or just exploding massive tunnels underground. Tier 4. Minecraft China. Minecraft China Edition is insane. It's basically insanely modded Minecraft, and it's very hard to get any access to. There's tons of microtransactions, events, new bosses. It feels like what would have happened if Notch was still putting out updates like every single week to the game. It just eventually get to an insane point where the game isn't recognizable at all. It just has tons of weird features that's honestly kind of hard to recognize as being Minecraft. Joke languages. Minecraft lets you change what language you play in, like any other game. But there's a few joke languages thrown into this menu. They have upside down English, which, you guessed it, it's upside down. They have Shakespearean English, lolcat language, which, it's something, and pirate talk. You could pretty much guess what all of those do, but for some reason on console you can't change your language anymore. You have to actually change the region of your console to change language. Just really weird that you need to do that. Nether Reactor Core and Nether Spire. When Minecraft Pocket Edition was being updated, instead of including the normal Nether, they instead implemented a Nether Reactor Core that when activated would turn a chunk into a nether spire, and in here you would get exclusive mobs and blocks to the nether. To activate this core, you need to surround the core with blocks of cobblestone and gold, and once activated it would turn a deep glowing red and spawn the nether spire. These deep red blocks were called glowing obsidian, a block that hasn't ever been attainable, and only appeared during this. Yeah, there's just no way to gather them despite them being a super cool looking block. But once you started killing mobs in the spire, items would start popping out from the ground as the spire slowly disappears. I like the portal and all, but a weird formation like this causing stuff to happen feels almost better in a way. I wish things like this, and kind of like how the golems were done with formations of blocks, happen more. Halloween mob effects. On Halloween, if you're playing Minecraft, bats can spawn at double the light level than normal, meaning that they just spawn more. Zombies and skeletons have about a 1 in 4 chance of having pumpkins on their head, and with these pumpkins on their head, they won't take any damage from the sun. They'll be able to fully walk around during daytime. Super secret settings. Minecraft used to have an option called Super Secret Settings, where if you clicked it in the menu, you'd cycle between different filters applied to the game. There were some weird texture filters, black and white, upside down, CRT. I mean, this setting was awesome. Sure, not many people probably used it actively, like it's more of just a gimmick, but it was fun to mess around with, and it sucks that they removed it from the game. Mob Bestiary. This is the Mob Bestiary, a book that has a lot of art of the mobs in Minecraft. If you've seen any art you thought was fan art of a mob, it most likely came from this book. Some of the stuff in here is pretty creepy, and there's some stuff I wish I didn't see, like what the inside of a creeper looks like. Hidden texture messages. Some textures of mobs in the game have hidden messages in them, like with the zombie pigman texture. At the bottom right here it says thanks, and at the top it says Zophobia, a name of the person who originally made the texture for the zombie pigman. The texture for the Elder Guardian has Jeb's name in it, and then some other objects like the armor stand have signatures of the developers who made these textures. Cursed enchantments and luck and bad luck effect. Cursed enchantments can be found on different items you loot from chests. These curses act just like normal enchantments, but have negative effects rather than positive. They're also marked with red text. Some of these curses really suck too. Like the Curse of Binding makes it where if you equip a piece of armor, you can't take it off, meaning it has to break for it to go away. And the Curse of Vanishing makes it to where if you die with an item with this curse, it just disappears. It gets despawned. And a curse you may not think about if you get it is the Curse of Bad Luck. This curse affects your luck stat, a hidden stat in the game, that affects the type of loot you get from chests and drops. Most people don't know there is a luck stat at all, since there's no reason to know about it. There's no way to view your own luck stat, but it does affect drops, and it's really annoying if your luck stat is super low. Dirt slabs. In 2009, dirt slabs were temporarily a block in the game. This block was never fully added to the game due to it failing to dress the terrain properly. It just didn't generate right, but people have been begging for this block for quite a long time. Red Dragon. This is the Red Dragon, a mob that Notch planned on putting into the game but never got to. It was in development and you would have been able to spawn it using an egg similar to the Ender Dragons, but since he left Mojang, it just got scrapped. No one knows what the dragon would have done, whether it was going to be a boss or maybe an ally in some form, but we'll unfortunately most likely never see this in the game. Human. In the alpha of Minecraft, humans were going to be creatures you could see spawning around the map. They just ran around and never fought back, and they looked just like Steve. Just kind of a weird thought thinking that this was planned at one point. Having people just run around would have looked really weird, especially if they were all Steve. Ghast Sound's origin. C418, the previously main guy for music and sound effect design in Minecraft, revealed on Reddit that his cat makes very human-sounding noises if he's disturbed while sleeping, and that the ghast sound is his cat making these noises. So somehow this sound is C418's cat. Minecraft the movie. This Iceberg was made back in 2023, so the Minecraft movie was still in production. But you know, a chicken jockey. Moon phase effects. In Minecraft, moon phases affect mob spawning, mainly slimes and other undead mobs. During full moons, more slimes will spawn in swamps, and skeletons and zombies have a higher chance of spawning with armor and enchanted weapons. I doubt most people even look at the moon in Minecraft too much, but I guess it's a good idea every now and then if you want to hunt some slimes or other rare drops, to do it on a full moon. Classic.minecraft.net. If you go to classic.minecraft.net, it's a website that'll let you play a very early alpha version of Minecraft in your browser. Obviously it's not too complex and doesn't run the best since it's all in browser, but it's pretty fun to mess around with. Sky Dimension. Welcome to the Sky Dimension. Yeah, this is an actual screenshot from vanilla Minecraft tweeted out by Notch. Notch made the Nether Dimension in Minecraft to be an equivalent of hell, you know, being filled with lava and everything just terrible and creepy, and he wanted to have the opposite of that as well. That's where the idea for this Sky Dimension came from, being a heaven-like place, but there was some issues with it. The Sky Dimension wasn't completely confirmed until Notch released an update via Twitter saying, "And because PC Gamer made it such a big deal of the Sky Dimension, I guess I'll have to finish it. Consider it confirmed." Okay, sick. So we're getting this, right? I mean, it's a massive deal on the internet and people have wanted this thing for quite a while. Well, the ideas and functions of this dimension changed. It got swapped to being a dimension accessible through dreams, that by sleeping in a bed you could go here, and Notch was banking on that. But while working on lighting for it, he couldn't figure it out. The Sky Dimension was originally planned for the Adventure update, but Notch put it on hold until the Nether was, quote, more fun. Jeb, another massive Minecraft developer and one of the originals, described that because of the dimension having lighting top-down like the overworld, you would get shadows and caves and such, but performance with this lighting didn't really work. It was extremely slow, and since it didn't work, they saw what it was going to look like without lighting, where you'd need to light everything up with a torch, and while at this point it wasn't so heavenly of a dimension, this dimension was then rebranded into the End, since originally this place was going to be the last dimension anyways, and they could just make it creepy with no lighting for the end of the game. Notch tweeted much later that a different Skylands dimension was planned and going to be separate from this, but it wasn't fully planned out yet and was cut as well. So the Sky dimension wasn't completely cut. I mean, it was, but at least we got the end out of it. Tier 5. Secret Woodland Mansion Rooms. Throughout the Woodland Mansion, there are 8 different secret rooms. They'll be hidden behind walls that don't have any doors, and the rarest of the 8 is the Lava Room, a room with an obsidian structure encasing lava with glass. A lot of these don't really have anything useful, but it's cool to come across a secret like this. Desert Temple Terracotta Symbol. Desert temples are unique. They stand out as one of the better random generations, and they have these weird orange symbols on the sides of them. Well, it turns out these are Ankhs, the Egyptian symbol for life. And while making a symbol in Minecraft can be pretty hard with it all being blocks, this one was done super well. And now that I've pointed out it's an Ankh, you'll probably never unsee it, because it really does look like one. It also just makes sense with it being a pyramid. Debug Stick. The Debug Stick is an item you can only obtain through commands, and it's kinda weird that it's not in creative mode with how useful it is. If you're aiming at a block with this stick and right-click, it'll rotate the block you're aiming at. It's a super useful tool, and I'm really shocked it's not in the creative menu. This would help a lot of builders. Shearable Mushroom. Mushrooms, aside from being the best mob, of course, can be sheared, just like sheep. If you shear one, it'll turn it into a normal cow and drop mushrooms. Honestly, I didn't know about this until now, but I can't imagine anyone would use this feature too much. While this can be nice for a few mushrooms, just using a bowl would get you more worth from it. I can't imagine anyone actually does this for any use. Novels. Minecraft has a lot of books made about it, lots of storybooks. But by far the best of the books to be made for Minecraft are the handbooks, and they're the most iconic. Minecraft handbooks were guides for survival mode, combat, creative mode and building, and redstone. My personal favorite being the redstone one. Got it at my elementary school's book fair, and I've opened that book at least 200 times. These are genuinely good guides, and are just cool kind of collector's items to have nowadays. Bloodstone. The original name for Netherrack was Bloodstone, but it got changed, probably because it was a bit too creepy of a name for how many kids were playing this game. But yeah, this isn't the only block that has had its name changed, but it's one of the biggest changes, and Bloodstone was a very unique and weird name. Testificate. Villagers used to be called testificates in the early versions of Minecraft. Nowadays are called villagers, but their race or species is still labeled as testificate in the code. Villagers aren't the only ones with this title either. It's also shared by everything that looks like a villager, like witches, pillagers, ravagers. Anything that pretty much looks vaguely like them shares the testificate name. In-dev MD3 mobs. Minecraft originally had human NPCs. Even back then, this was weird because they didn't really match the style of the game. The most iconic of them was one called Rana. Rana was created by a developer named Doc for a project of his own many years before Minecraft. When he joined the Minecraft development team, he recreated her in a new style for the game, along with 3 other human NPCs called Steve, Black Steve, and Beast Boy. Yeah, no, that's just copyright infringement. They just put Beast Boy in the game. All 4 of them were pulled from Minecraft at the same time Doc left the project, and I don't think many people really missed them. They were really weird. Debug Mode World. When making a world in Java Minecraft, if you hold the Alt key when clicking on world type, it'll let you create a debug world, a world full of every single block in the game. When people are making really any game, something like this is usually out of bounds or at some point used in the development of the game, used for either inspiration or fixing assets. Infiniminer. Infiniminer was, well, sort of robbed. You may look at this game and think, oh, okay, it's just a Minecraft copycat. But this was before Minecraft, and before Cave Game. So yeah, this game was the predecessor to Minecraft, what inspired it all, and it just got looked over. This is what the maker of the game had to say about the whole situation. I created most of Infiniminer in a week. My wife went home to visit her family, and when she returned, I'd made a new game that would unknowingly change a lot of things about our lives. The Infiniminer story is complicated, not in its details, but in its emotional content. Looking back, most of my difficulty with the situation came from two conflicting ideas. On the one hand, I believe that Minecraft is a very different game from one I would have ever made, but on the other hand, it's obvious how Infiniminer directly inspired Minecraft, which makes it easy to conflate the two, especially when the other people treated me like I had somehow been wronged. It's been almost 10 years since I created Infiniminer, and it's taken almost that long to get over it. Having released a bunch of games has certainly helped, but I think the day that everything changed was when Microsoft announced they were going to spend literally billions of dollars to acquire Minecraft. Events like this don't happen often. How could I possibly feel bad about this when it was so unbelievable? Weirdly, I'm proud of it now. So even though he potentially lost millions by Notch sorta just taking the idea, he doesn't feel that way. Sure, it's not Minecraft, and he says he probably wouldn't have made anything like Minecraft with the game, but it's odd that Infiniminer isn't recognized at all by Mojang or Microsoft. I'm just glad he doesn't seem to be too mad about it. 3D Anaglyph. Older versions of Minecraft had a setting where you could make the game work with those red and blue 3D glasses. It's also called Anaglyph 3D. And recently I've been getting into making games have this filter and see if they're any good with the glasses in real life. And out of all of them, I can say Minecraft's old Anaglyph feature works the best out of any game I've tested it on. Mob perspectives. In the Java version of Minecraft, when in spectator mode, you can click on a mob to be able to spectate it, being able to see what it sees. And some of the mobs, when you spectate them, have a different type of eyesight, like a creeper sees everything in lime green, Endermen see the world in inverted color, and spiders see the world through all 8 of their eyes. It's a cool feature, and I don't know why this isn't in the Bedrock version of the game, but it's one of the more unique features, or I guess Easter eggs in the game. Simmons. In making the bosses in Minecraft, the dev team gave them sort of unofficial nicknames, the Ender Dragon being named Gene, and the Wither being named Simmons. Not really anything else to this entry, but they do have names. Prismarine Animation. It's hard to tell, but if you stare at Prismarine, you'll be able to see that the block is actually animated. It slowly changes color over time, and it's almost not noticeable at all. It takes so long to go through its cycle, most players probably didn't even notice. PC Gamer Demo. PC Gamer, a PC gaming magazine, gave out these demo discs in June of 2011. The demo let you play a version of Minecraft for 100 minutes, or 5 in-game days, and the world already had a setup of its own. Aside from the timer, the only difference in this demo was that cows had a PC Gamer logo on the side of them. Once you were out of demo time, it would show these different images with text talking about features in the full version of the game. It's rare to see demos like this nowadays. I mean, the legacy version was sort of similar with the demo being the tutorial world, but it's really nice seeing something kinda unique and weird like with this one. Calm4.og. Calm4.og is the file name of a cut song I'll be playing in the background right now. It was made by Notch himself, but was never put into the game. Not a widely available version of the game, that is. It was in an alpha build and was removed in the next update. I don't know why it's called Calm4. This song feels way more active than a song I would label as calm, but it is impressive that Notch was able to make something like this. Cat Skin Vote. There was a vote held for what cat skin would be added into Minecraft, based off of a real cat. The winner was Good Time with Scars Cat, a big Minecraft YouTuber. His cat Jelly was added to the game and will forever be immortalized in Minecraft. Tier 6, Frosted Ice. If you have the Frostwalker enchantment on your boots, you'll be able to walk on top of the water, turning the water beneath your feet into ice. But if this was normal ice, it'd be really annoying and take forever to go away. That's why a new ice type was made, Frosted Ice. This ice melts extremely quickly and is perfect for the enchantment, but there's no other way to make it outside of the enchantment. Unused soundtracks. A good number of songs were made by C418 for Minecraft, but never made it in. We don't know why so many were cut, but I'll be using them for the rest of the video. Rarity feature. Different items in Minecraft have different rarities, and most of them are just common rarity with white text, but more complex or rare items have different colored text, showing their rarity. It goes from common to uncommon to rare to epic, being white, then yellow, cyan, purple. Most people know about the text difference, but there'd be no reason to know the names of the rarities. Snow logging. The Bedrock version of Minecraft usually has less features, being a lot different and in some ways worse than Java, but it does have something called snow logging that Java doesn't have. Like how water can fill in spaces above slabs and other weird pockets of air, snow can too, but it can also interact with plants. Instead of no snow at all falling where plants are, like flowers and grass, it instead covers the ground around them and it looks really good. This still isn't in the Java version of the game. Tameable ocelots. Before cats were added to villages for you to tame, ocelots were the only way of getting these pet cats. You'd tame them just like you do modern cats, and, well, every time I see an ocelot, I still try and tame them. It's a newer feature. Okay, I guess it's not that new, 7 years old. Me personally, I'm just not used to it yet. I still wish we could tame some of the ocelots, but having naturally spawning cats that are pretty much guaranteed to be at villages is really nice. Stripe lands. Similar to the far lands, these stripe lands are a generation error in Minecraft. It gets rid of a line of the world and alternates between that and normal. It's not nearly as talked about because it's not as unique looking as the far lands, but some of the versions of this stripe lands look really weird. I'm really shocked this isn't as known about. Original Stonecutter. This was the first ever stonecutter added into Minecraft. It was added to Pocket Edition as a decorative block, and it was removed pretty soon after, being changed into the modern stonecutters. I really have no clue why they added this in if they were gonna so quickly remove it. Unused paintings. There are 4 unused paintings in Minecraft Pocket Edition, being portraits of the 4 classical elements. It was said to be a part of a promotion at Minecon 2012 or 2013, but nothing ever came from it. You just can't get these paintings in the game. Pioneer. This is the Pioneer, a 1-block tall variant of the peony flower. This flower was planned on being implemented in update 1.7.2, but got cut right before its release. It would have been nice to have another pink flower in the game, especially one that's a normal flower size. It just kinda sucks it never made it in. Gear/cog. Gears were originally going to be in Minecraft, but they were scrapped very early on. As you can imagine, they would have had some connection with redstone, but they were hardly ever implemented and they didn't even appear when you placed them unless it was on the side of a block connected to another block horizontally, or was on a source block like water or lava. It would have been really nice to have something like this implemented in the game to go along with redstone, but I can see why it was never fully implemented. It feels more like a modded item than something vanilla and blocky. Where Are We Now? The track Wait was originally going to be called Where Are We Now, but the name was way too long, so it got changed to Wait. This track is often associated with that very iconic Minecraft wallpaper image, the one with Steve sitting in a field. Southeast Rule. The Southeast Rule, also known as the ZX Rule, is an unintentional mechanic in Minecraft where different effects happen based on what direction something is facing, primarily the southeast direction. Like some good examples are with minecarts. Minecart rails will curve south or east when placed at a T-shape or crossed intersection, and they'll also curve away from south or east when powered. TNT is also affected by this rule. TNT cannons tend to fire further when facing east or south, and the same thing happens with mobs. Whenever a mob spawns into the game, it'll initially face south. Just for some reason with the code of Minecraft, everything prefers going south or east rather than north or west. Flower forest pattern. Every flower forest biome has a pattern that the flowers will grow in. Like shown in this, if you clear out a flower forest biome, bone meal the ground, and just get rid of any grass that spawns, this will naturally form. A massive pattern. It just looks so nice and I never hear anyone talk about this. Obsidian walls. Obsidian walls used to be a structure that could spawn around in Minecraft, in the very early versions of it. They'd be generated at spawn and go out in all 4 directions. These were a really weird addition, but were certainly one of the more unique generations that could happen. Winter mode. There used to be a winter mode in the alpha of Minecraft. When generating a world in this version, a random number generator between 0 and 3 would activate, determining if the map was going to be covered in snow or not. If it was a 0, it would be. So it was a somewhat rare, about 1 in 4 chance, of your entire Minecraft world being snowy. being in this winter mode. Java tutorial level. In the old main menu of Java Minecraft, there was an option at the bottom to play a tutorial level, but this button was always grayed out and never did anything. It seems that a tutorial world for the Java version was intended, but it was never implemented. Sea Lantern animation. Just like how the Prismarine block has an animation, sea lanterns do too, but these are way more obvious. At the center of a lantern, if you get up close to it, you can see a pulsing circle. It's kind of hard to spot unless you're staring right at it, so I wouldn't blame you if you never noticed. Secret updates. Every week from June 18th, 2010 to September 18th, 2010, there was a secret update, adding brand new things to the game without really letting anyone know. These updates brought some of the most iconic items to Minecraft, like the dungeons, redstone, boats, cacti, saddles, chickens. I mean, they added tons of new features. These secret updates kind of doubled the amount of content that was in the game. Creeper Crunch. This is Creeper Crunch, a breakfast cereal that was produced by Kellogg's in the US. It had oats flavored with cinnamon and creeper bit marshmallows molded into cubes. The box also contained a code that would get you a character creator item in Bedrock version, and 16 variants of these code existed, having a lot of new cosmetics just off this cereal box, but it was a pretty unique thing to do for cosmetics. Tier 7. Dead Mouse Ears. In Beta 1.0, Dead Mouse got a custom skin by Notch for Minecraft, having these massive ears that no other player can have. It was username bound, so if he changed his name, the ears would be gone. Whoever has the Dead Mouse username has the most unique cosmetic in the game. Dead Mouse wasn't doing this for some sort of collaboration for money or anything either. He genuinely liked the game and appeared at a lot of Minecraft-related events. Even the after parties for Minecon he DJ'd for. Original Crying Obsidian. The Crying Obsidian block we have now looks way different than what's technically been in the game since Beta 1.3. This texture, labeled Crying Obsidian, was added back in the beta to the texture library of Minecraft. The block wasn't implemented into the game for many years, and would get changed when it was. This texture still looks really good though. I'm shocked they didn't use it for anything else. Root vines. This entry was really hard to find anything for, but from what I could tell, root vines may have either been scrapped or are a work in progress variant of underground vines. This texture, labeled Root Vines Head, was added into the files of Minecraft about 4 years ago, and nothing's come from it. I have a feeling they were probably working on a new vine type and it most likely got scrapped, but it'd be really cool if this somehow got implemented into the game after all this time. Blue Ice Light Emission. The blue ice block used to emit light. This was removed pretty soon after being added since it probably confused players, and well, why would ice like this emit light? Well, it turns out this actually happens in real life, particularly during avalanches or when ice breaks apart. The ice will almost glow in a way. The exact reason it happens isn't fully known. It's believed to be caused by all the cracking apparently creating different chemical effects that make light, but Mojang might have been trying to replicate this, and it most likely was just written off as a bug or glitch. Pi Edition. We have Minecraft on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, mobile, Switch, but where we were really missing out was the Raspberry Pi players. Yeah, there's a free build of Minecraft for the Raspberry Pi, and it's still officially distributed through the Minecraft website. It runs an extremely early alpha build of the game, but it does technically run and count as a unique version. Creeper Melee Attack. Under very specific conditions, creepers can deal melee damage in vanilla Minecraft, although it's only in Bedrock. If a creeper is trapped in water and cased around by blocks, all aside from their feet, if you try and swim under them, you'll get 1 to 2 hearts of damage dealt to you, and you can get a really rare death message if you die to this. The message saying slain by creeper as opposed to exploded by creeper. Monoliths. Monoliths were glitched areas of terrain that happened in the later versions of the InfDev and early alpha builds of the game. These monoliths would cause the terrain to abruptly generate up to the height limit with natural grass block and ore generation. These were removed very quickly, but for a while we had a really unique generation that looked really cool. I'd love coming across one of these in the game now, but I know they'd never re-implement them. Chair and table texture. These textures were found in an extremely early version of Minecraft. They look like they could have been textures for a chair or table, or maybe the table's just the front side of a chair. But it would have been really cool if it turned out that they'd planned on adding things like chairs into the game. Having any type of furniture would be really nice, because they're sorta isn't any. Minecraft Plus. For April Fool's Day 2021, Mojang released a trailer for Minecraft Plus, a new version of the game they had been working on for years. Yeah, it was all a joke, obviously, on April Fool's, but you can play it. It's more of a screensaver, so play is a loose term for this, but it's still available to be downloaded. Wax Block and Crystallized Honey. Wax Blocks and Crystallized Honey blocks were both added into the game in 2019. They were removed by the end of the year and you can never really use them. They were in the files of the game, but they just didn't work and were likely left over from conceptualizing things for this update. They haven't said why these blocks were removed. I mean, it would have been cool if they were implemented later on, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll get them. Enderman Collective Noun. As referred to by Dinnerbone, one of the devs of Minecraft, a Minecraft book and Minecraft story mode, Endermen in a group are called a haunting. None of the other mobs have unique group names aside from the creepers are called griefs, but the rest are just a group of them. Player name is you. In version 1.14, a new splash was added to the Minecraft title screen that read, "Player name is you." Player name being your username, but in all caps. This was a reference to the game called Baba Is You, a 2D puzzle game based around forming rules with word titles. Like one rule could be object is you, which makes any object in the game controllable. It was a really unique concept, and it's cool that Minecraft used to reference a lot of indie games like this. Pigman Blood. Zombie pigmen are pretty iconically pink with green blood. While originally they looked a lot scarier. When they were first added to the game, they had red blood instead. This was obviously removed for being way too violent for the game. Legend of the Chambered. Before Minecraft, Notch was working on a game called Legend of the Chambered, and it was a pretty standard sort of old Elder Scrolls inspired game, but you may recognize some of the assets at the bottom here are exactly from Minecraft. He took assets from this game and moved them directly into Minecraft. The only things nowadays that resemble this game are the Iron Sword and Apple, since the quiver was removed and leather armor got a retexture, but it's really weird seeing these textures in something that's not Minecraft. And yeah, the quiver was an item in early stages of development. It wasn't in the game for too long before getting removed. Wet sponge bucket. Not many people know this since it's not really useful, but if you dry a wet sponge in a furnace and place an empty bucket in the bottom slot, it'll turn the bucket into a water bucket, just dripping all the water from the sponge into the bucket. Sponges can be dried instantly by placing them in the nether or putting them in the furnace like this, but there's not really any reason to get water this way. Blue Rose. When Minecraft Pocket Edition was announced in 2011, it was initially on the Xperia Play, and it was a big deal. The Xperia could run a lot of games, and Minecraft was beginning to skyrocket in popularity. But there was an issue with the color red in this version of Minecraft. So when trying to import roses into the game, they just inverted the color, making the rose cyan on mobile. And this was by far my favorite flower and a lot of other people's favorite as well. Not only did it look really nice being blue, it was also unique to Pocket Edition, something exclusive to this version that always seemed to be behind or seemed like a different game almost. A cyan rose was amazing, but you know what they did? Killed it. Brought it out back and shot it with a 1.9.0 update. You like the cyan rose? No. You like the normal rose? Poppy. I swear, if they remove cornflowers from the game, those are my current favorite. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Super Duper Graphics Pack. In 2019, a Super Duper Graphics Pack was announced for Bedrock Minecraft. This was going to be a 4K texture pack and have really nice shaders, but it got cancelled. Recently though, a new official graphics overhaul setting was announced. It's called Vibrant Visuals, and it'll initially only be on Bedrock, and later come to Java, but it looks amazing and is kind of a nice replacement for this old pack they teased. This is what people have wanted for years, and the devs finally listened. There's brand new, really nice graphics coming to Minecraft as a new setting. Illager Alt. Throughout Minecraft Dungeons, one of the spin-off games, you can see text written in Illager Alt, a font or language that only Illagers write in. It isn't in normal Minecraft at all, but it's really cool that you can completely change it and decipher a lot of things found around in Minecraft Dungeons. Tier 8, Green Enderman Eyes. Enderman, when first introduced to the game, had green eyes. The purple's obviously more vibrant and iconic at this point, but I stumbled across a Reddit post about it that I think has a really great idea. In the early days of Minecraft, it was assumed for a good while that ender pearls were Enderman's eyes. since Endermen can look somewhere and teleport. It doesn't make sense if they're green though, since the eyes got changed to purple. It's never been confirmed that they were Enderman eyes, but rolling with this theory, this post was suggesting that for overworld Endermen, they could possibly have green eyes, Endermen in the end have purple, and possibly ones in the Nether have red. I don't think an update like this would ever happen, but it would really add to the game in my opinion, and I don't know. The lore implications of that would be insanely cool. Studded armor. In the early InfDev version of Minecraft, studded armor would be added to the player's inventory upon creating a world. Like all armor at the time, you couldn't equip it, and it was just being tested. By the time functional armor was in the game, the studded armor was completely removed. Erosion. In Java 1.4, erosion was added. Erosions were a bit of terrain sort of mined down a layer or two, like in real life how dirt and other materials can be slowly worn away by rain and floods. These could happen in any biome and were pretty rare. Since the addition of surface rules were added into the Java version of Minecraft, they've been removed, but they still generate in Bedrock. Chinese mob vote. In 2017, China got their own mob vote for Minecraft. Since their edition of the game is so different and they get excluded from pretty much everything in the West Minecraft related, they got their own mob vote. The vote was between alligators, golden monkeys, white-lipped deer, white dolphins, and of course the winner, pandas. Personally, I would have preferred the alligators, but pandas are adorable, so it makes sense why they won. Minecraft miniseries. The Minecraft miniseries was an animated web series by Mojang and Mattel to promote their new Minecraft minifigure packs. It had 2 seasons, with season 2 ending on a cliffhanger suggesting a 3rd season, but it was never made. The style is really weird. It's meant to be using the Mattel figures, so it's not going to look exactly like the game, but it's kind of off-putting. Placeholder block drops. In early development of Minecraft, a placeholder block was used for when you broke a block or if a block had an invalid ID. Later on, this block was changed into what's still in the game for testing that looks like a dirt block with question marks all around it. This was only ever in the early versions of Pocket Edition and is still in Bedrock, but you can't spawn it with commands anymore. Between updates 1.16 and 20, you could spawn this block and its name would just be unknown, but now you can't spawn it at all. Copper horn. The copper horn was a temporarily available item. It could be crafted with copper bars and a goat horn, or be found in a pillager outpost. If you used it when crouching, a bass tune would be played. If you were looking up 45 degrees and played it, you would get the harmony tune, and if you weren't doing either of those, it would give you the melody tune. But like I said, it was only temporarily available. It was removed in the full launch of the 1.19 update, and was only available in the beta and preview builds of the same update. Minecraft Periodic Table. The Minecraft Periodic Table was this box of a sort of periodic table of blocks in Minecraft made by Mattel. I loved this thing as a kid. I made so many terrible builds with these blocks, and I still have the backing cover for it, and now it'll be permanently on my wall as a poster. Minicraft. This is Minicraft, a top-down miniature version of Minecraft made by Notch for the 2011 48-hour game programming contest called Ludum Dare 22. It obviously wasn't the most fleshed out, but it was very impressive for being made in only 48 hours. Tier 9, 11. The disc 11 stands out as one of the 3 creepy discs. Just like disc 5 and 13, this one's not really music. It's just creepy sounds made to scare you. But unlike the other 2 discs, this one looks a bit different. It's the only broken disc in the game, which may have originally been planned on being able to be repaired, as the track 11 exists in the Minecraft beta album, and it's oddly melancholic. Makes you feel nostalgic and sad, but not a normal sad, more like a bittersweet sadness. It's definitely not the feelings you'd think of when you think of disc 11, but I really wish this was implemented into the game at all. Being able to possibly repair this disc and get this really good track would be amazing. Unused purpur variants. In the Bedrock version of Minecraft, there's 2 unused variants of the purpur block, the chiseled and smooth purpur. You can spawn them in through commands, but outside of that they're unattainable. Similar to the purpur blocks, the smooth stone brick is another block you can only get via spawning with commands. They look the exact same as normal bricks though. Ice Desert. This is the Ice Desert biome, an unused biome in the files of very early Minecraft. And you may think, oh, I've seen this before. Well, there's tons of glitches in Minecraft, and seeing a desert in snow isn't all that uncommon, especially in the early versions of the game. But at one point, an official ice desert biome was being made. It never made it into the game, but with how many times I've seen snow all over sand in this game through glitches, we pretty much got it, just unofficially. Milkable squids. There was a glitch in the beta builds of Minecraft that let you milk squids. Not for ink or water or anything. No, it was milk. Yeah, that was a weird glitch. Cocoa bean recipe. I felt crazy talking about this over the years, but it turns out I'm not, despite everything Google AI tries to tell me. Yes, cocoa beans were once able to be crafted in Minecraft, only in Pocket Edition though. It was soon removed pretty much right after it was added to the game, and there's hardly any footage of it since why would you record yourself crafting cocoa beans? But yeah, at one point you could craft cocoa beans with red dye, yellow dye, and an ink sac. One is an album made by C418 that was composed for Minecraft, The Story of Mojang, a documentary about the making of Minecraft. The digital version of this album has 31 tracks, but the physical, on the other hand, has 4 additional tracks. The song you're hearing in the background of this entry is from the One album. Tier 10, Elder Guardian Ghost. The Elder Guardian Ghost is a somewhat cut enemy from the Bedrock version of Minecraft. It was probably planned to be something you'd see from time to time, maybe after killing the Elder Guardian, but like I said, it's somewhat cut. You can spawn it in with commands, but it starts flying upwards when you do, and it just doesn't do anything. I really wish there was any information about what this enemy could have been. Skis. Discovered in April of 2012, a texture for skis were found in the files of Minecraft. These unfortunately never turned into anything usable, but someone made a model to map this texture on to see what it would have looked like, and it would have looked great. We really missed out on a really cool new form of transportation in the game. Cold N Oak. The Cold N Oak was a tree formed by a rare glitch in older versions of Bedrock Edition prior to version 0.9.0. It was a small tree with the same shape of a small oak or birch tree that's generated on the border of a forest in a snowy area, but it's made of spruce leaves and logs. Its rarity is compared to the Modified Jungle Edge, a generation that used to be called a mutant jungle, and was known for being the rarest biome generation, with about a 1 in a million chance of it generating. Pocket Edition J versions. Minecraft Pocket Edition you obviously couldn't run on all phones when it came out. I mean, it was Minecraft, but phones at the time weren't the best. So Minecraft Pocket Edition J version was made. It was smaller on storage and much more optimized, and it was available between 2012 and 2017, but was taken off the Play Store when Microsoft bought out Minecraft. This version's one of the hardest to get any information on, as only 4 versions of this were ever known to exist, and only one of them is still playable nowadays. I really hope that someday this version of the game and older versions of Pocket Edition are made available, even if paid. I mean, it's just like lost history at this point. 15W14A QR code. The 2015 April Fool's update had a lot of weird additions, like obsidian boats, heart clouds, pink withers, but there was also a QR code in this update, if you opened up the map. This QR code led to a site hinting that the next update, 1.9, was going to be a combat update, and a lot of people thought this was another part of the April Fool's prank, but as we know now, it wasn't. It did turn out to be the combat update. Brickcraft. Brickcraft is probably the most unique resource pack in all of Minecraft. It was developed for 3 years before being completed 6 months ago, and it's a LEGO themed resource pack with custom sounds, visuals, for everything in the game. And it's shockingly not a mod. It just works in vanilla if you wanted to play this on a server or something. It's genuinely one of the most impressive resource packs I've ever seen. 1K in 24 hours. When Minecraft was released for public access, within its first 24 hours it sold 1,000 copies. Celebrating this achievement, the title screen was changed to 1K in 24H, standing for the 1,000 copies sold in the first 24 hours. This was the first time the title screen was ever changed at all, and it's one of the few times it ever has. Aside from the Minecraft Easter egg, the title screen just doesn't ever change. Leaves Creeper. The original texture file for the creeper, aside from the face, was just the texture of leaves. and it kinda makes sense. They look pretty much the same as leaves. There's just normally no reason to look at the texture files or really even think about what they might share textures with, but yeah, creepers are just a leaf texture with a single face. Pigtails. On August 22nd, 2011, the Pigtails site was made. Pigtails was a mini site within Minecraft.net that allowed users to create and share their own conversations that starred two Minecraft pig sock puppets, known as Pig 1 and Pig 2, in front of an obviously fake set. The conversation ended with a dramatic zoom in on Pig 1, and the films were made in a sort of retro style and were produced by a fake Swedish company named Macapar Films. This was later revealed to be part of a collaboration for Minecraft-themed socks, but the whole segment of the site was removed back in 2016 when they did a complete redesign of the site. Minecraft name origin. It turns out that Minecraft's name was never suggested by any developer of Minecraft. Notch would go onto forums asking for name suggestions back when the game was still called Cave Game, and you can still access the forum where the name Minecraft was suggested. And Notch replied, "It's a great name. It's perfectly lightweight, descriptive, catchy, and slightly ironic. Thank you." So that's where the name Minecraft came from. Thank you, user Paul Aries, for naming the most successful video game of all time. Tiers 11 and 12. Pocket Edition Demo. The demo of Pocket Edition was very small with how old it was, and what devices it had to run on. This was the first version of Pocket Edition available to the public, and it being launched on the Xperia is the reason the Cyan Rose was made, as mentioned earlier. Fire Text HNST. When making the fire in Minecraft, before there were textures and animations for the fire, this Fire Text HNST texture was used instead. There's almost no images of it, but this is a texture that they used. Skulk Jaw. This is the Skulk Jaw, a cut block that was seen in Minecraft Live 2020 as a part of the Deep Dark announcement. Walking on it would change texture, and it's presumed that it would do damage to the player and it could be broken with a hoe like the other Skulk blocks. Unfortunately though, this block was cut and never added back to the game. Missing versions. A lot of the early versions of Minecraft are just lost. On the launcher, there's a decent number of Minecraft builds, but most builds for the early versions of the game are completely gone, and most Legacy and Pocket Edition versions of the game are missing as well. Block 253 and 254. When going through the block IDs for different items in Minecraft, block IDs 253 and 254 are missing. For some reason, these IDs just aren't used. Considering they're right next to the structure block in the IDs, a block used for generating structures, they might have been used for other mechanics in the game that just got scrapped, but no one knows for sure. Hoglin meat. Left over in the files of Minecraft are the textures of raw and cooked hoglin meat. They look the exact same as beef. The ones at the bottom of this image are just concepts. But yeah, the hoglins were for sure originally going to have their own meat type, but it got scrapped. It makes sense they dropped beef since they're, well, pigs, but it would have been really cool to see a new meat type be added to the game. And this wasn't an entry on the Iceberg, but something I feel like really deserved an entry is Pippin FTS's 1-to-1 Earth in Minecraft project. 4 years ago, the most ambitious project in all of Minecraft history started, building the Earth 1-to-1 scale. It was a project worked on by hundreds of people, but one stood out for documenting it all. Pippin FTS. For 4 years, he made extremely long videos on building entire countries in Minecraft, and while he's quit the project to focus on his own life, the 1-to-1 Earth project continues through the Build the Earth channel. They pretty frequently upload videos of building entire countries in this project.
We are going. Hello.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're on another video on the bed. I think him, but I forgot how to play.
I wrecked him the first.
Hey guys, we are actually going to start doing our first video.
Hey guys, that's it for the Iceberg. I really hope you enjoyed. Minecraft was and still is a massive part of who I am. I grew up with this game age 5 to now almost 20. Without this game, I wouldn't have made the friends I still have to this day. I wouldn't have even started YouTube, and I certainly wouldn't have had a Stampy Longnose to watch every day after school and through the summers to keep me company. I know some people say the game changed, that Microsoft ruined it, and while it may be different, you changed more than you think. What I'm trying to say is I don't think Minecraft's changed as much as people say it has. If you sit down and play it right now, you may realize that. I don't know. For me, that 2-week Minecraft phase through scripting this video has turned into a lot longer of a phase, or maybe not a phase at all, of playing this game. I really enjoyed this game, and it means a lot to me that you would sit down and listen to me talk about it. So I hope you learned something new about this. I know a good chunk of the first half was pretty common knowledge, but I hope you learned some weird things you didn't know before, and if you didn't, still thank you for watching, obviously. I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, and I'll see you in the next one.